encounter a very unique phenomena. That is what is called the specular transmission. So when it is transmitting in a specular manner in a particular direction, whereas it can also undergo a kind of diffuse transmission. So how do you go for, say, suppose Q13? So J1 minus J3 divided by this, where you can see that this is the specular part. Okay, energy leaving 1 that is transmitted through 2 is this, and then from there, if you can really calculate, after calculating all this, resulting, so Q13 specular transmitted, Q13 diffuse transmitted, Q31 diffuse transmitted. If you take all of them together, so this is the net diffuse transmitted. Okay, and from there you can see that J1 minus J3 divided by the view factor part is coming out to be the resistance, where you use the view factor analogies. I'm just giving you multiple examples here. Okay, just to tell you that how exactly these surfaces, these surfaces which are coming in the middle, they are taken into account in terms of the calculation of the emissive power. So suppose you have two surfaces, you are putting highly reflecting surfaces in the middle, that is a radiation shield. If you are putting a kind of permeating surface, why you want to have kind of transmitting surface? You want to see something. Say suppose you have put a kind of glass into a kind of a furnace which is at a very high temperature. Your question is that whether you will be able to see the real thing, what is happening inside or not. So those are decided based on these calculations, and that has a huge application in, this type of things have a huge application in ceramic industry, in space industry, where the temperature variation is very, very high. Okay, where you deal with different complicated structures. Here just the fundamentals are discussed. So you can really have different types of opaque, diffuse. 1,3 is opaque. Opaque means what? Nothing is transmitting. Okay. Fully transmitting means what? Transmittivity will be equal to 1. Diffuse means once a part will diffuse. So like you had reflecting and diffuse surfaces in terms of reflection. In case of transmission, you may have opaque diffusive. Okay, and transmitting specular diffusive. So in that process also different types of complicated networks can be taken. So just to summarize the whole thing, that to give you the gravity of the situation, the most important part to understand in this radiative heat transfer is first whether you are able to understand what is the energy that is to be absorbed and emitted, that is epsilon and alpha. Okay, now epsilon and alpha are equal for a black body. This is the first thing that you have to understand. Second is what you need to understand. I'm just summarizing now so that you get the full perspective why we are doing all these things. Second thing, what you have to understand, that for a black body, that is the case, that it is if something is absorbed, something will be emitted. Whereas this is not the case for a gray body. It will not be at the level of 1, which is the real body. Right? In case of most of the realistic situations, your first absorbance will not be fully 1, and everything that is absorbed will not be emitted. It will be a part of it. This is the first set of wisdom that we have got. Second is that now if everything is not absorbed, then what is going to happen? So a part of it is going to be reflected and a part of it is going to be transmitted. Now, when you have a part of it is going to be reflected, you have two components. One is called the specular and the reflected, specular and diffusive reflection that is to be reflected. When it is transmitted, you also have a part that is called the specular and the diffusive transmission. Right? And we have done many problems where we have seen that it is the wavelength of the light and it is the material that decides that whether the wavelength, whether the electromagnetic radiation is going to be either reflected or whether it is going to be transmitted. So as you saw the Wien-Planck's equation, as you saw previously the Wien-Planck's equation, where we had discussed about this aspect. That says, suppose there is a kind of very high frequency, there is a very high frequency wave, very high energy wave, low wavelength and high frequency wave, which is at here. So what the surface? The surface may undergo the electromagnetic radiation may go through the surface. Okay, and then it can be a transmitting surface. So at a very high energy of the electromagnetic radiation, the surfaces can be transmitting. And these transmitting surfaces can be of two types. One is a kind of specular and one is kind of diffusive. Whereas at the smaller wavelengths, the light can be what? The light can be reflecting, right? Because it cannot transmit, the light can be reflecting. Of course, in these two wavelengths, they will be absorbing some. Like say, suppose when you are putting X-ray, X-ray is going through your muscles, but it is getting reflected through the bones. That's the reason why you are getting the image of the bone. So a very high frequency and low wavelength X-ray is transmitting through your body, and then your body used as a kind of a transmitting surface. And that transmission can be, a part of it can be a specular transmission or diffuse transmission. Whereas the bone can be a specular reflection or diffuse reflection. If it is a very smooth surface, it will be a specular reflection. If it is a rough surface, it will be a kind of diffuse reflection. Now, because of these activities, which is the absorbance and emission, okay, then the specular reflection and diffuse reflection and specular transmission and diffuse transmission, because of these 6 parameters, you have to develop realistic circuits associated with the surfaces that you are working with. So let me just go to the last one. So you have to create a kind of realistic surface, realistic circuits that are associated with the surfaces. Okay, so you first assume that these emitting and absorbing surfaces to be the black body, intermediate surfaces to be the one whether either it is reflecting or transmitting. Then you classify them to be whether diffuse reflecting or specular reflecting. Then you classify them to be whether diffuse transmitting or specular transmitting. From there, you know now for individually how the resistances are to be calculated, how the view factor resistances are to be calculated, how the radiosities are to be calculated, and then you come up with the circuit diagram. You are through with the calculation of what is the rate of heat transfer. Any question to this point? Any question you have? Any questions? It's a kind of linear combination. You have to work out the different types of linear combinations. Of course, you may see that most of the time I'm looking for a parallel surface. That's why my calculations are much easier, that I can really say that this A1 F12 is A2 F21. But say suppose if I have a sphere and a kind of surface, then you may immediately see that this A1 F12 will not be equal to A2 F21. So complications associated with that will also arise. But then that is not the conceptual part, that one can understand that how much you can visualize here, what is the fraction that can be calculated based on the geometrical factors. That's a completely different problem altogether, industrial problem altogether. But conceptually, have you understood the whole thing or not? Is it clear that the game between the absorption, emission, specular reflection, specular diffuse reflection, specular transmission, and diffuse transmission, is it clear between all these things or not? Is it clear? Any question you have up to this point related to all these things, and how exactly you calculate the individual resistances associated with that? What is the resistance that you calculate? How much is going from this surface to that percent? How much is coming back? And that gives you the net resistance, net energy transfer between the two. And from there you calculate the rate of heat transfer. You have done tutorials, right? So in those tutorials, you have seen how exactly they are calculated. Only complications are added as specular and diffuse in the reflection part and specular and diffuse in the transmission part. Yes, any question you have up to this point? No? Okay. So let us finish this radiation with another very interesting concept. This is the typical, you can see this outside part is a normal black body radiation. Okay. So if you take an ideal black body, it is going to emit like that. Okay. Now, if you really record the solar irradiation outside atmosphere, it will look like this, which is very near to the black body radiation with some fluctuations are there. Of course, one can understand why these fluctuations are coming. So you may see that at smaller wavelengths, it is going to absorb, and that in larger wavelengths, it is going to come down. This is outside atmosphere. However, if you come to the sea level, you may see that there is a significant reduction, and then it's significant, like discontinuities in the solar irradiation. At the sea level at 0 degree, you will find like this, but at the sea level, incident angle at 78 degree, you may find something like this. So this is a very clear indication that although outside the atmosphere, although the solar irradiation behaves outside the Earth atmosphere, although the solar irradiation behave more like a ideal or black body radiation, inside the atmosphere, the solar irradiation behave like a more of a kind of a gray body. Okay, where you don't see the similar type of, like Wien and Planck's equation. It doesn't follow that sort of, it follows, but it's more of a kind of realistic surface. So 2 points to really understand that outer limit of the atmosphere, the total solar irradiation when the Earth at its mean distance from the sun is about 1395 watt per meter square. So this is one very important, the total solar irradiation. What is irradiation? You have 2 parameters, no? So G, you are talking about G here. This number is called the solar constant and is subject to modification upon collection of more precise experimental data. This is the constant amount of source that you are receiving, okay, from the solar atmosphere. And more importantly, looking at this, say suppose, if you look at say 500 micrometer, the maximum in the spectrum that occurs, right? So suppose 500 micrometer, the maximum the spectrum that occurs, right? So here, if you calculate the temperature from the lambda T, you get about 5,800. So the equivalent solar temperature for the thermal radiation is about 5,800 Kelvin. Okay, which is about 10,000. This is about 10,000 ranking, right? So these are the 2 very important factors, that you need to know in terms of solar irradiation. Acha. The other important factor that you need to know is that the meteorologists, use the term called insolation. They use the term called insolation. What is this term, insolation? This particular term is called the insolation. Insolation is the intensity of direct solar irradiation incident on a horizontal surface per unit area per unit time. Okay, this you call as a kind of, this symbol is I. Okay, now although different types of units are available, the unit of this, you call this as a kind of 1 Langley, LY, okay, which is about 1 calorie per centimeter square. Right, and another very interesting factor that is used numerically in case of radiation calculation is called the albedo. Okay, the albedo is called the reflected energy divided by the incident energy. Up to this point, we were dealing with what? The irradiation and the radiosity, right? So albedo is nothing but the reflected energy divided by incident energy. This actually gives you the real part of, the real surfaces. For real surfaces, it is very, very important to calculate the albedo that is associated with the. So you can see that for water, the albedo is this much. For potato, albedo is this much, right? For bright fine sand, the albedo is this much, right? So you may see an array of albedos that are there for different types of surfaces. That gives you the idea how much reflecting the surface will be. The higher is the albedo, that means the higher is the reflecting. Lesser will be the absorption. Lesser will be the emission that is associated with the surface. Okay, so what are the things that we have learned in radiation? So in radiation heat transfer, we have learned that if there is an electromagnetic radiation, it can undergo absorption, it can undergo scattering, it can undergo transmission, and it can undergo reflection. And we have found out how these parameters are to be evaluated in a very simple manner with the help of the view factor calculations, right? Now, that there are two types of scattering phenomena that happens in the atmosphere. So one is what is scattering? So somebody can tell me what is scattering? By the way, this particular term is coming new, so I should clarify this part. Do you know what is scattering? Anybody? Because this is associated with our famous Nobel laureate scientist Raman scattering, right? Anybody has any idea what is scattering? Do you know what is scattering? How is it different from the other things?
So scattering might be random.
What is scattering? Is it reflection? Is it transmission? Is it absorption? It is emission? What is scattering?
So it can be said as a change in direction of motion of a particle because of collision with another particle.
But that is, you are telling reflection, no? Or transmission, no? Are you getting my point? Where is the point of confusion is there?
Sir, is scattering also, like reflection is also a part of scattering, we can say?
Reflection and transmission are not of part of scattering, right? In reflection and transmission, the electromagnetic radiation do not interact with the substrate. Okay, it just passes through, it doesn't interact with the substrate. Whereas when an electromagnetic radiation is interacting with the surface, okay, interacting with the substrate, say suppose you put some energy, electromagnetic radiation, then there is a jump that is taking place, correct? Now, a part of the energy is enabling the jump, right? But the other part is going out. So suppose you put a surface, right? And you put an intensity of light that is I0 here. And then outside you get an intensity of I. So I0 to I, I to I0, this ratio, I is the intensity that is coming out of the surface. I shine a light on a surface, on a glass surface, correct? What goes beyond the other side, okay? So you have molecular, first you have a molecular scattering is observed because of the interaction of the radiation with the individual molecules. This is the first type. So blue color on the sky results from the scattering of the violet wavelength with the air molecules. Okay, so you are shining with the white light, but then it is absorbing a part of it. The material is absorbing a part of it, and then it is releasing a particular wavelength. Now, particulate scattering in the atmosphere resulting from the interaction of the radiation with many types of particles that may be suspended in air, dust, smog, and all these things. So, when the electromagnetic radiation is interacting with the molecules, interacting with the material, and then what it is leaving out is called scattering. Okay, this is different from reflection, transmission, and all these things because those are associated with what? Those are associated with the ray, how they are going as is without interacting with the surface. Understood? So scattering process is governed mainly by the size of the particle in comparison with the wavelength of the radiation when there is an interaction between them. And maximum scattering occurs at the wavelength when the particle size are equal to the wavelength. Okay, for wavelengths smaller than the particles, yeah.
Sir, absorption and emission are also associated with photons.
Absorption and emission. Absorption is what? The part of the light that you are absorbing. Say you have a molecular band gap, HOMO and LUMO, right? When you put the light, a part of the energy of the light is causing the jump in the band gap, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now that is absorption. When it is jumping up, that is absorption. When it is coming back, that is emission. Okay, that is why it is quantized. When it is jumping up, it is absorption. When it is coming back, it is emission, correct? That is alpha and epsilon. Is that okay? Scattering is what? When it is coming, when this particular electromagnetic radiation is coming, This interaction is taking place, and after that, whatever is leaving, it is not the entire energy is getting into this, molecular jump and all these things, correct? Is it clear? A part of that energy is being absorbed and emitted, right?
So scattering is basically a particulate phenomenon. Like there is a collision between two molecules.
In the next slide, it will become very, very clear. Say, suppose
Yes.
you have ozone, right? In your atmosphere, I have ozone, I have water, right? I have carbon dioxide. This is what is my composition, right? Now you see, when you have a solar monochromatic sun, solar is irradiated on the surface, right? So this is the typical, monochromatic emissive power with respect to the wavelength. Now you see, these ultraviolet wavelengths are all absorbed by ozone. Okay, this wavelength is all absorbed by water. This wavelength is all absorbed by water. This wavelength is all absorbed by carbon dioxide. So you can see that solar irradiation, a large part of the solar irradiation is absorbed by the constituents of the air that is there. So thermal radiation spectrums are primary absorption bands indicated by the shaded area. So these are all absorbed. Now, once these things are absorbed, so I may just go back to the previous slide. Once these things are absorbed, so you may see that the blue color in the sky results from the scattering of the violet wavelengths by the air molecules. So air has all the composition of molecules. So the violet rays, when they interact with the air molecules, which are having a similar size associated with the violet ray, so it scatters blue light. There is a kind of change of energy because of the interaction. There can be elastic interaction, there can be inelastic interaction. Elastic interaction is called the Rayleigh scattering. Inelastic interaction is called the Raman scattering. Okay, what is that? It absorbs a part of the energy and it releases a part of the energy. And that release part are two types. You should not confuse between the two types. One is the absorption is because of the jump. But the incident energy is far, far higher than the one that is causing the jump. The jump is caused by a certain part of the energy. But other part of the energy, whatever is remaining, say suppose there is an incident radiation of energy E, right? So out of this energy, say suppose 0.1 E has been utilized for 0.1 E has been utilized for the jump. Rest 0.9 E is going out of it. That is called scattering. Is that clear? Who asked this question? Eshu asked this question, right? Who asked? The previous question asked by whom?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I asked it. Yes, sir. It's clear.
Is it clear? Absorption and scattering. Is it clear to you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir.
Yeah.
Then what happens during reflection at a molecular level?
So reflection is when the energy which is incident and which is going out, the energy remains to be the same in case of a reflection. It doesn't interact with the surface at all. It is reflected back. Okay. Moment it
But
absorbs.
there is a collision between the molecules, then in
Moment
collision energy.
Moment it collides, it is scattering. Is it clear? Is it clear? See, when the energy is coming and when the energy is going out on a surface, see, when does it happen? When you look at the electromagnetic radiation, when you tell me in this energy spectrum, where is the reflection happening? In which situation the reflection is happening? When the wavelength is much, much larger than the substrate, the dimension of the substrate. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Reflection happens for those where the energy is much low and the wavelength is much higher. Those are the situations when you have the reflection. So the absorption of energy is very, very less. Okay. Whereas transmission happens when the energy is very, very high. In the transmission, whenever you put light, that during the transmission process, a part of the light is absorbed. Okay, a part of the light is absorbed. Now, the part of the light is absorbed is going to be emitted. A part of the light is transmitted, rest of the light is scattered. Is that clear? Is that clear? जो part absorbed हुआ energy में, जिनका साथ molecule का collision हुआ, that collision has two types. One is elastic scattering, the other is called the inelastic scattering. जैसे जैसे collide हुआ, तो collide होने के बाद एक part absorb हुआ और बाकी तो रह गया ना, तो that part is the scattering. Whereas जितना absorb हुआ बाद के बाद जो रह गया, that is transmission. Is that clear? Reflection.
So when wavelength is equal to size of particles, then
when the wavelength is, yes, that is where the scattering is the maximum. Yes. And when the wavelength is much smaller, that's the reason why you had here this radiation, right? When the wavelength, and that's the time volume when also your absorption and emission is also at the highest level. When the wavelength is much smaller, then it is entirely transmitting, because then the wavelength energy is so high that it can penetrate through the surface. Yes, you had the right button. You had hit the right button. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Right. So when for wavelength smaller than the particle size, the radiations tend to be reflected. Smaller than the particle size, the radiation tend to be reflected. Wavelength smaller than the particle size tend to be reflected, right? And when the wavelength is larger than the particle size, this might be the larger. I mean, I may have mistaken this thing. Okay, wavelengths larger than the particle size, radiation tend to be reflected, and wavelength much smaller than the particle size tend to be transmitted. Okay, great. So this also has been explained. I think this you have done already in the one problem is done, that there is a kind of thermocouple, and you have done this in the tutorial, right? That there is a fluid flow that is taking place, and then there is a thermocouple. So convective heat transfer is equated to radiative heat transfer. There was a problem in the tutorial, am I correct? With this, have you done the tutorial or not? When is the last date for submitting the tutorial? Nobody is talking. Everybody is silent.
Sir, it was yesterday only.
So
I think sir, this question was there.
All of you submitted, no? Why there is silence? No, nobody submitted. Yes, no.
Submitted.
Great. So I extended the deadline, so you should submit. No, anyways, solution was available. Also, you can really write the radiative heat transfer coefficient in the form of a radiative heat transfer in the form of a heat transfer coefficient. Right. So this is your typical two parallel surface with a one view factor expression for the heat transfer, right? So Q by A is equal to sigma T1 to the power T2 to the power 4 divided by the resistance. So this you can write as HR into T1 minus T2. So this you can factorize into T1 minus T2, and rest of the part you can express as a radiative heat transfer coefficient. This is just, to have an analogy between convection, radiation, and the conduction. Okay. So with this, I think, we summarize the entire radiation part. Concept-wise, things are clear. And then, the view factor and the resistance-wise, I believe, it requires a lot of work in order to have mastery over those circuits. Any questions you have up to this point? Any questions you have up to this point? So if you do not have question, fine. So we meet tomorrow. With the last lecture. I think I will be able to finish tomorrow the entire heat transfer course. When is the exam starting? When is the exam starting? What is the exam week? Do you have any idea?
So end sem, right? Sir, I think from 28th of November, if I'm not wrong.
20.
28th, right?
20 or 28?
Yes, sir. 20.
28th. 20.
20th of November, the exams are starting, right? So I essentially like to give you 1 week of year. So what I will do, on 9th only, I will circulate, 10th, I will circulate all the tutorials. Okay, the last tutorials. I think, we have another tutorial, so that I will circulate on 10th. And I'm not taking any class. for tutorial. So you just start preparing. You do the tutorial and submit. We have done more or less all the tutorials. Last one will be more or less, it is just, I mean, it's all conglomeration of all the problems and all these things that are coming up in a single place. So I will circulate on 10th. So 12th, there will be no class. Okay. And I think 25th is our exam. So the exam will be open book, open notes as we have done previously. And with this, code tantra. And then again, the structure will remain same. And we will have the entire syllabus this time. And we will set up some challenging problems. And all of you have to really come up with the similar type of answers. And this time I wish that your performance is better because you are now very well equipped with the heat transfer fundamentals and all related to all the aspects, right? So that should be the plan. So most probably tomorrow will be the last class followed by a tutorial. So if I am circulating tutorial on Wednesday, I am expecting you are submitting the tutorials by 15th. Okay, so 15th of November should be the deadline. Any question you have? So by 15th, your entire course finishes so that you can start your preparations and all 15th onwards. Any questions you have? Anybody has anything to say? Tanushri, are you there? Tanushri, have you noted these points, right? So please circulate the tutorial to me today in the night. I'll go through it and I'll finalize it, okay? Okay then. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow at 12 noon. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.